Hello and welcome to the Standard Education Talks. In this episode, we'll be getting inside the University of Manchester's Global MBA program and learn about how it can help business professionals advance their career and personal growth. So join us today are the Manchester GMBA graduate, Daniel Midgick and Ines Leon. Daniel and Ines are both senior executives with years of experience in corporate management. So welcome and thank you so much for being here. Now, to begin our discussion today, why don't you tell us a bit about your study experience and what was it like pursuing the Manchester Global MBA? Maybe Ines can start first.
So for myself, I think the program, if you sum it up in 3 words, it was definitely intense. It was fun and it was extremely rewarding because during my program intake, we saw a lot of changes. So when we started the program in 2019, that was when the entire environment in Hong Kong was very normal. And then, so we got to even meet some of our classmates from Japan and in Korea. So we have face-to-face workshops and it was actually a lot of fun. And then we got hit with the protests.
Right.
And even during one of our workshops, we were surrounded by protesters and it became like a test of our relationships. And everyone was just extremely supportive of each other. So it was remarkable, like the type of relationships we've been able to build. And then we went into the pandemic. So I saw how the program changed from being live in person and then transitioning to fully online. So it's been a tremendous experience for us all. And being the student rep, it also taught me a lot about how to support my fellow students and definitely gave us a lot of different types of life experiences. And as I said, I think like everything anyone has ever told me about an MBA experience, it's cliche, but it's true. You put in and you get out what you put in. Right?
Mm-hmm. Right. Daniel, does it chime with you in what you experienced during the program?
Yeah, I mean, definitely what Ines said was a tremendously challenging time. It was fun. We had a lot of personal interaction because we had the workshops on the spot, but also we had the online courses as well. So we had a kind of a pre or post-pandemic situation during the intake of 16 to 18. So we are exploring the online schooling partially, but also partially to interact in person with the people. So similar as Ines said, like what you put in is actually what you get out of it. And I enjoyed it. It was a very challenging, but also a very fun time.
Right. And I think regardless of the pandemic, undertaking a studying for an MBA is a huge undertaking. It takes time, it takes effort. And, on top of work commitment and also sometimes family responsibilities too. And people study for an MBA for a variety of reasons. So I'm curious what motivated you to apply for this Manchester GMBA in the first place? Like, what were your considerations and how did it lead to you saying that, okay, this is what I wanted to do?
Maybe I take on the question first, if you don't mind.
Right.
For me, definitely. I mean, I'm born and raised in Europe, a small country called Liechtenstein. For me, it was very important to have a European university, something I can use in future when I go back, or if I go back one day to Europe, that I can show that I studied at the university in Europe. So, and then I started to look around what is something I can actually look into it. And then, I mean, I was already back then in a leading senior position. So for me, it was something important to find which actually fits my work schedule, but also my my private schedule, which was related a lot to travels. And therefore with this hybrid version of being kind of online, being on the spot here in Hong Kong, in the workshops, but also if you can't make it in Hong Kong, Manchester offers you a great opportunity to go to other centers, such as, for example, to Shanghai, Dubai, or even Manchester itself.
What about English?
Definitely resonate a lot with what Daniel has said. When I first chose, actually, I had a lot of other criteria similar to yours, but it also included comparing to some other universities, they require a 2-day-a-week commitment, which for 2 years is actually quite huge.
Yes.
And then if I can imagine if you were a woman, a mother, have family on top of your job, that's actually quite a lot of time to commit to a program as well. And so that's why part of my reason for choosing Manchester was because you can study at your own pace.
And that was gives you the flexibility, right?
Yeah, and that actually made a huge difference for me. So, and then I also took a look at the offerings in terms of electives. So as a tech and data enthusiast, I really like to know that the school that I'm choosing, they have a variety of different types of programs that I could choose from. It's progressive, it's in touch with what's happening now.
Yeah. So the flexibility and how the course content up to date is big here. Now,
oh, sorry, there was one other reason I chose this place. Did you know that Benedict Cumberbatch was a graduate? So
he was, yes.
Yes. So I said that the worst thing that can happen to me is I went to school with Dr. Strange.
Exactly.
Right. And I think the fact that the Alliance Manchester Business School being one of the world's leading and prestigious business schools across the world, it also plays, an important role here. So the reputation, the recognition are a factor. Ines, you just mentioned the course content, and I was, looking at the course info the other day. So what do you think of the course content? What topics does it cover? And do you think it's up to date with everything that is happening in business right now?
So I think tying back up with this question and the last question that you asked is part of the attractiveness of this program is that in marketing field, I always felt that even though I could cross different industries like finance or retail, I just felt like there was maybe a gap in my knowledge base because as you progress to become leadership, right, there are certain things that you would aspire to be as a leader. And then I think that some of those gaps I was hoping to find in a program that would give me, right? Mm-hmm. And then looking into the course program that we have here at Manchester, it really did that job because some of the fundamentals that they taught, such as finance, accounting, I think it's things that everybody's going to need as a core program. And then if you look at some of their other really popular or renowned courses, such as negotiation, I don't know if you took that one.
It's my favorite one.
It is? Okay, that's wonderful because it's actually renowned for being tough, but so useful. I felt as if through the course content, it's such a theoretical type of knowledge, right? But the framework that they give you, you could actually use it and prepare yourself. And within the same week that you learn it, you could apply it right away. So I think it's these types of frameworks and knowledge that, you're always surprised by how much you learn. Daniel?
I mean, I fully agree on that. I mean, the trends and the daily cases, we actually also looked into it, helped us a lot, or helped me a lot to go through my study career and also afterwards, asking the question in the real world with having a background story or a case you can actually refer to was always great for me. As you said, accounting in business or some certain basic courses. That's something you should bring to the table anyways, but specifically these strategic management, international business strategies, that was for me always something I really admired, and especially negotiation skills. That was for me the highlight of my 3 years. Yeah. Afterwards, I'm still in touch with Stephen Brooks, the professor, and we send each other some here and there some messages, always referring to the negotiation skills course.
That's wonderful because even I found that with the marketing related courses, right? In marketing field, even especially the last 5 to 10 years, so much change has happened in the technology sector. And then so what you see is that technology, it doesn't progress linear. It's actually exponential. And so that's why being in a program or a course such as digital marketing or B2B marketing, it's extremely useful skills because I always feel in this type of field, we have to play catch up with technology, with the trends, but the framework and the things that they lay out for you, it's teaching you to make the right strategic decisions, right? That's going to last.
So aside from the more traditional pillars like accounting or finance, it also covers the most up-to-date business issues like green economy, digital transformation, and you just mentioned the case-based experiential approach. So Ines, what do you make of it? Do you think it adds values to what you are learning within the program?
In terms of the live approach, for my cohort, we had a couple of interesting courses, such as simulation. I don't know if you didn't have it. Okay, we were very lucky because this program, the way that they built it, the software in itself is actually very complex because it's modeled after, let's say, automotive companies. And then the data they use is live data from Europe. Yeah, so they gather all of that. And it gave us the opportunity to form companies within our individual groups. So in Hong Kong, we would have maybe 5 different companies that we form, and then we make decisions and enter it into the simulation program. And each month, we get to compete against each other to find out how well the decisions that we've made have performed for the company overall. And then not only from a local perspective, internationally, we get to find out how we rank amongst like all of our students within like worldwide. So it was really fascinating because I like my group, we're very proud to be, let's say, the first place, right? And then you find out, oh, you've been humbled because in Manchester, people have performed like exceptionally well, or in other like cities. So these types of live scenarios really, I think, test out your skills, your abilities, your teamwork, and it definitely feels like going to work.
So what I'm hearing saying is actually that also not only they provide you with course material which is live, also the university itself developed on the highest technology level.
Yes, and like even
because we didn't have that,
You
so
didn't
I'm
have
amazed
that?
hearing
Oh, okay,
that because
okay.
we were having like this. Okay, you meet your peer like when they
Okay.
come to Hong Kong for a workshop, right? And then you meet someone who's in the marketing or in a negotiation skills.
Yeah.
But having this opportunity to compete worldwide with your peers is amazing. I mean, we didn't have that, unfortunately.
That was a phenomenal program. I really
Okay.
enjoyed that. And you know, on top of that, my most recent elective that I'm actually in still right now, it's actually a live case study about a crisis happening right now.
Okay.
Yes, a humanitarian related crisis. And what we're doing in the course is developing a digital marketing program for this NGO, which you know that they are going to see and could possibly make an impact on how it performs. So it's a heavy topic, but at the same time, it's real and that you could make a difference. Yeah.
So learning by applying it and really putting the knowledge into practice. Because I suppose when people apply for an MBA, they don't just want to listen to theories. Yes, they want the foundations, but what they're also looking for is hands-on experience so that when they graduate and they return to the business world and continue to climb up the career ladder, they are using the knowledge and the skills with the context of already apply it. And it really transforms the way you think about business problems. Now, I want to go back a little bit and talk about, because if we go beyond the qualification, I think another plus of the MBA is getting to network with and also to study alongside elite executives from so many different industries. So how do you think these connections you have made through the MBA has been beneficial to your career?
I would not say it was beneficial to my career, first of all, because I think it depends also on the person you are, right? We had people, they were coming to the MBA courses just that they actually attend an MBA course. So they were not interested mingling around with people. It's also about how your own mindset, how you go into this MBA and what you want to take out of it. So for me, it was like, I went in and I'm curious to meet people. I always want to understand what are you doing, who you are, where are you from. Doesn't matter if you're from Dubai, Singapore, Japan, South Korea, China, Hong Kong. I always wanted to understand what's your background and how can we interact. And it was not, I would not say it was beneficial to my career, my growth, because I was coming from a completely different industry than most of my other colleagues or peer members. It was more about what are we actually doing afterwards with that, right? With I meet Ines, so what is actually, I know she's in marketing, so what I'm doing afterwards with this information. So if something pops up at the later stage and I need any marketing information, an expert, I would maybe approach Ines and say, hey Ines, I have this problem or this case, can you maybe help me out with? And I developed myself in a way that I became kind of a hotspot of my intake. They named me also CEO, which was more the chief entertainment officer. So that was actually, they knew when people from abroad are coming to Hong Kong, that they actually can reach out to me and I will tell them let's go out together, let's go for a restaurant, let's go to afterwards having a drink, or let's go sightseeing and all these things. So that's actually a personal relationship you build with, which you then afterwards take on with you as a network. And I know, thanks to Manchester, people in Norway, I know people in Manchester itself, I know people in Dubai. I was added into various WhatsApp groups worldwide of the Manchester program, and this is actually the most valuable things you can get out of the recognition within your peer that they actually want to mingle and network with you.
And I suppose as you develop social bonds with these people from such diverse background, it also opens your perspectives towards different things. It gives you different ways of thinking about things. Now, because I want to go back to the flexibility point, because it's really big in this program. And people who are enrolled in this program, they're all working professionals. So it's no easy task to juggle between work and study and sometimes family responsibilities too. So what do you make of this part-time study mode, and how do you think it gives you the flexibility of work-life balance?
You first, you did all you shouldn't do.
So, Daniel brought this up is because our school has a famous list. So during orientation, you would be presented with advice, very good advice, about things that you probably are not recommended to do because it would impact your studies and the intensity of the program. So items such as, don't get married because it takes a lot of time to plan. Don't have kids because that's definitely going to throw a wrench in something. Changing jobs and moving. And then so I think, Daniel and I took it upon ourselves to do everything on that list. And I think the flexibility is important is because life happens. That's just simply it, right? And even as a female, it's understanding that, things are going to happen. And then during the program, I had my first child. And so it was unbelievable how supportive my classmates were taking a full-time program like that. Even up to the point where I was in the hospital, they would be there and helping me along the way. Yeah, so having that type of flexibility to study and pacing yourself, because I'm sure that anyone who's went to post-secondary school, it's all the same. If you delay anything, then you're going to pay for it later. But if you go at the pace, Manchester has done a really good job where every single course, they will highlight week by week your study schedule. So these are the recommended pace, in terms of recommendation, how you go about studying for this program. But the rest is entirely up to you because we're all adults. And how you handle it. And I'm not sure if a lot of people realize the Manchester program, also there is no exams, but we are assessment based. Yeah, so you still do assignments, and these assignments are just as important and just as intense as exams.
Okay. Daniel, do you agree?
I fully agree. I mean, we had, unfortunately, you did not experience that, but we had also the workshops. And we had also people, they had suddenly urgent business matters, and then you work as a group on a group workshop assessment, and someone is dropping out because they have urgent things to handle, or someone gets sick and cannot attend the second day, for example. So then you have to jump in for your classmate and support each other, and I think that's one thing I also took away from the Manchester as well, how quickly people actually bond and support with each other and make the best out of it.
And I think that the fact that students can study from anywhere in the world while they work full-time, and also given this combination of online learning and face-to-face workshops and teaching, it really gives people the maximum flexibility, work-life balance. And because this program sets out to impart a comprehensive range of knowledge, and we're talking about the hard skills, but what about personal growth and soft skills? And how do you think this program or qualification has helped you in this aspect?
For me, it was I was in a senior leading role already. So to pursue further in my career, they were recommending me to do some MBA studies. And I was kind of not really forced, but I was kind of pushed into it, right? So it's MBA would be good for you, consider that. And I was at the beginning, it's but I know all these things already. I know how to run the business. I know dealing with accounting. I know talking to the CFO and to clients. So I was a little bit ignorant, if I may say so, going into the MBA, and I was like, okay, let's just get it done, 2.5 years or whatever. But what suddenly happened during the MBA, without even me thinking about it, would it really happen, was suddenly how my mind changed. Like suddenly I was asking the CEO questions like, why are we doing this? What is the strategy behind that? Talking to the CFO, I was like, so you suddenly bring it in. It's like becoming natural, like it's becoming your DNA. The MBA skills they give you with along the way, it became so natural to me that's even like now when I'm talking 4 years later or 5 years later after my graduation, it's still present. It's still there. I'm still referring to certain models and I'm like, oh, we should do it in this way. Let's do the SWOT analysis. We'll do this and that. Portfolio management. So it's all these things I'm still having now in me. I can't get rid of it, and I'm very thankful for that.
What about you, Ernest?
I think like what Daniel's describing, it's absolutely true. They said that once the mind has been expanded, it's hard for it to return to its original shape, right? And then, so in terms of like soft skill or even like some practical knowledge, it's all very real, because at a work environment, easily you're going to have some people who contribute more and some people who contribute less. So the same thing is into how do you tackle that here at school, right? And then do you put up with it or do you handle it? Are you going to be a leader? Are you going to be a team player? So it's really interesting because in the beginning of the program, you find that you don't know anyone and you don't know how they work. But as the program progresses, your teamwork with certain people, it just becomes like so natural. Yeah, it's without having to say it, you would know exactly what I'm going to work on. And there's a certain amount of trust built up between each person. So I think it's like every other environment that you're going to be in. It's understanding that dynamics, managing expectations, managing workload, behaviors, yeah. So
it's coming back what you just said previously, or it's like becoming a real-time environment. It's not just like an education. It's really like, you're working on the workshop assignment, which is kind of a project which you also can implement and take care on in the real business world. So all soft skills you will have to use there, and this is actually what it makes also very interesting to interact. We had the pleasure to do it in person. I can't imagine how it worked online, to be honest. It must be even more challenging.
It was, but at the same time, being able to work with colleagues or classmates from Singapore or from different environments, I find that even through the workshops, there's just some relationships you can still build. And that was actually what was astounding. And so keeping in touch with these people now that the pandemic is over, we will still chat and catch up with each other after the program is done. So it's been wonderful that way.
So teamwork, communication, managerial leadership, and also working in a multicultural environment. These are, these are the traits and the elements that will set students up for success in the future. Now, Daniel, you started your own wealth and management consulting firm after studying this MBA, and Ines, you are now a brand marketing consultant and a chapter lead of a non-profit organization that inspires women to contribute to an increasingly data-driven world. And you're also the best student of 2022. So I'm curious, how do you arrive at the decision of where you are now after getting this MBA qualification?
I think what the program gave me was definitely more confidence in so many different aspects that I did not realize that I needed and have developed over time. From just the basic essential things, such as like writing, communicating, right? I was already, being marketing, a relatively strong communicator, but I could not believe that the leaps and bounds by which my communication has improved over the years, even just through this program alone. And it's also given me a lot of confidence and resilience about stepping into my next role or what I would be looking for, that I would be making the right choices for my own career.
Daniel?
I fully agree. I mean, when I remember my first assignment, I had recently the chance to see somewhere my first assignment, and then I saw our final year project, that those was like worlds, right? I mean, how we just developed in the way of communication, in the way of thinking and approaching things in a strategic way was tremendously how much we grew through these 2.5, 3 years. And on the other hand, I mean, I developed certain skills which I did not have before, because before it was more about, okay, you know what you learn and you're like just working as a worker, right? And suddenly you become a thinker, like as well on top of that, right? So it's like strategic thinking came with, on my end, a lot into the game.
So hard skills on one hand, and it also levels up your personal growth. And because we're talking about how students apply for an MBA and study for an MBA for a range of reasons. So whatever their future endeavors may be, it's important that they are armed with the skill set and the network that will support their aspirations. So whether they want to handle their own shingles or whether they want to continue to climb up the career ladder in the corporate world, how do you think this MBA will open up the prospects of job opportunities with top employers in the world?
I mean, having an MBA definitely helps you to land a good job. If it's with the top employers or with a good employer out there is another case. But for me, definitely, it should be something which you want to do, right? It should not just be that you have an MBA on your name card, right? So that's what I saw a lot as well, that people came in, and that's also known that a lot of people are just doing an MBA to have an MBA, right? And at the end of the day, they will struggle. They will struggle throughout the project. And we had a couple of people, they were coming in just for an MBA and they struggled and they dropped out. And I think at the end of the day, if you know what you want, as you ask us, and you see the long-term benefits out of it, and you're willing and you're open to personally grow on all levels, I mean, that's the best education you can actually do in the business world.
Often I find it really interesting hearing from my peers or different alumni. And I would ask them that question, my classmates, like, how has it helped you in your career? And even if you look at it statistically, even within my own cohort, many of them have been able to land better jobs, have an improvement, I think, in the way that they approach their careers. And they tell me quite frequently that the knowledge that they have picked up here during the course of their MBA, they've been able to apply it over and over and over again. And I think it's just knowing that the skill set you have here through this MBA does last a lifetime. And the things that,
DNA.
yeah, and the things that we were saying about, like, wanting to aspire to become a better leader or to help other women enter in this type of industry, it's the confidence, the resilience that I was talking about that you bring with you into everything that you do.
It provides an extra credential, which is very helpful professionally, and the skill set and the knowledge that you gain along the way, they will also be very instrumental as you work in the corporate world. So Ines and Daniel, we have covered quite a lot of grounds today. So something to round up our discussion today. For students and people who are interested in applying for the Manchester Global MBA, what would be your advice to them on making the most out of the program, and what should be their considerations?
First, for me, was always important, or I would recommend to not just enter into the program because it's an MBA you will have one day on your business card. Actually, you should enter this if you're really willing to personally grow and learn a lot and fill your backpack. And just be open, enjoy the ride, even if it will be not always a nice roller coaster. It goes up and down. But at the end of the day, when you stand, I mean, I was in Manchester, when you stand on that stage and your name is called up and you walk with the whole gong and everything up on the stage, it's an amazing feeling, right? And then you look back and say, oh, this roller coaster ride was worth it, and it's a very rewarding one.
Ines, do you have any comments?
Similar to what Daniel said, and at the same time, it's before you even go on your search for different types of MBA programs, it's thinking about, like, what are things that are important to you. Some people find that having quality professors from overseas the flexibility we talk about, the electives that would cater to your interests. And I mean, even including the things I was saying that with Manchester, today, did you know that they started a new program with FinTech?
No,
Yeah,
unfortunately,
Yes.
was not there.
Yeah, so it's thinking about the type of environment that you would want to be in, other than just a name and reputation. So it's a lot of these types of qualities in a program. I think that makes a difference. Like when you choose one, it's not just the price tag, not just the name. So how does it impact you when you make that decision? So that when you step into Manchester, you know that this is what I signed up for.
So knowing what you want is key.
I think so.
And be open, because you not always know what you really want.
Yes, be extremely open-minded.
Right. Thank you, Ines. Thank you, Daniel, for your insightful sharing today. Audiences, thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next time around.